In this little bottle of Dr. Pepper, there are 15 teaspoons of sugar. There's no warning label here telling you this is really something that kids should not be drinking, that has a whole lot of calories in this. This is 240 calories right in this one bottle. So the industry has done a very good job in selling us products that are cheap to produce and make us unhealthy, and that's something Congress has got to deal with.
Bernie Sanders is one of the loudest voices in the room when it comes to ultra-processed food, and now he's pushing for warning labels on ultra-processed products. He's here with me today to talk about his plans. I'm Graaf, health editor at Business Insider. The first thing that I want to talk about to do with transparency, I think it's a bit of a black box that for your average citizen, it's hard to understand what stronghold industry lobbyists have over US politics and our food system.
Major industries in this country, whether it's financial services or in healthcare or in food, spend huge amounts of money on campaign contributions. So they give you a lot of money when you run for Congress, and that gives them access to you in a way that ordinary citizens do not have. So they can come in and say, look, these are my problems, this is what I need, and you know what, I did put $50,000 through our super PAC into your campaign. Furthermore, they have lobbyists running all over Washington, D.C. And often these lobbyists are very well paid, they're very smart, in some cases former leaders of the Democratic or Republican Party. So they have clout. Oh, you know, I was in Congress, I know what you're going through, and here's really what you got to be doing.
When it comes to other countries, are there, in nutrition policy, are there any that you're envious of?
Sure. I mean, there are many countries that are way ahead of where we are. I just give you one example. This is a bottle of Coca-Cola in the United States. No nutritional information, no warning label. This is one in Mexico, and I don't know that Mexico is doing more than other countries. It says excess sugars, excess calories, caffeine warning, not recommended for children. And there are other countries that have gone further. So what we need to do is when a parent goes out shopping, they need to know that there are products that are just not healthy for their kids. In the United States, we have not reached that stage. Other countries are doing a lot better than we are.
What do you say to concerns that the front of package labels are just going to be a distraction that might delay further action?
I think it's one thing that you've got to do. It's important for parents to know what the health impact is of the products they're buying for their kids. I mean, that's kind of common sense. I think if most parents knew that there were, again, 15 teaspoons of sugar in this drink, I suspect many parents would say, sorry, Joe, you can't have that. And it would put pressure on the industry to start producing healthier products.
Speaking about industry reform, I have to ask you about RFK Jr., who's been nominated for HHS Secretary. He says he's going to overhaul our food system and specifically remove processed food from school meals. Do you think that's doable? Where do you agree and disagree?
Well, I think a lot of what RFK is saying is kind of crazy and driven by conspiracy theories. Some of what he's saying is not crazy. I think the fact that in America now we have an obesity epidemic. 40% of adults are obese, 20% of kids are obese, and that is directly related to the epidemic we have in diabetes. So you got millions and billions of people struggling with diabetes. Many of them are overweight, and it is costing us an estimated $400 billion a year to deal with diabetes, a huge amount of money. So it goes without saying that anybody with a brain in his or her head wants to deal with issues, get to the cause of the problem. And I think processed food and the kind of sugar and salt that we have in products that our kids and adults are ingesting is an important part of addressing that crisis.
Could you explain what the stakes are and why Americans should care about this matter?
When Kennedy talks about an unhealthy society, he's right. The amount of chronic illness that we have is just extraordinary. The obesity rates have risen for kids 3 times since the 1970s. So we're getting more and more obese, which leads to all kinds of other health-related problems. We have a problem right now actually recruiting young people into the military because of health-related issues. Our kids are not healthy enough. So in the long run, you want a healthy society as an end in itself. We want our people to have long lives, productive lives, happy lives. That's what we want. And if the industry is giving our kids food that is making them overweight, leading to diabetes and other illnesses. Clearly, that's an issue that we've got to deal with.